What's poppin', people? We're back with another Digimon video here. I'm going to be starting up on the right hand side with the Armour Rush profile once again, EX Veemon, and we're going to go onto the field with a jamming Veemon as well. Shakkoumon player going to be opening up with Patamon in response. And we're going to see the board answered with a Salamon going in, the one with that inheritance that lets you do the DNA Digivolution, but already padding the security up to 6. We're going to see reinforced memory boost come in, and the jamming Veemon's just immediately going to crash straight into that. Was considering swinging in with that EX1 Veemon, but 2000 each, definitely needed the jamming to survive it, and going to take a gamble. The EX1 Veemon is going to survive the check into the Tamer, and then its inheritance will give us one less cost on the Magnamon that comes in for the Digivolution, which will swing in and take down Angemon in the process. BT8 Veemon going to be coming out after Davis Ken. And plenty to play with. A pretty decent turn, turning 6 memory down to 3. And the Patamon is pushed up out of raising. And is just going to swing into security here. Going to get that Upamon draw in inheritance just to get a little bit of hand presence, but unfortunately does hit into the Megadeth, which is going to bounce that extra Salamon, which thins the field back, but it does go back to her hand, so all in all not too much of a problem, just means that she can use it later. I'm going to speed up the clip a little bit here, and she takes a while to figure out what she wants to do. We're going to crack that reinforced memory boost to get an extra 3 memory, pushes all the way up to 8. And it was asking how many cards are in hand, so we're expecting to see this play culminate in a Mirage Galgamon. KnTElixar comes out for full cost, and instead we're going to see the Chimeramon Digivolve on top of that for 4. So 8 memory spent just to get that board out, and it does clear the board after putting the Angemon underneath. That's 3 colors, which is more than enough to kill off both of the Veemon. Really solid option here, definitely worth the wait. But since that was an KnTElixar that was played this turn, can't actually attack with it. We're going to see for 3 costs, because it gets that 1 memory back for me having 4 cards in hand. Had 7 at the time, so just under that 2 cost reduction. Davis and Ken is going to push us up to 4 as we get going. In the main phase, Magnamon going to swing. Takes out the weak Digimon, and a second Davis Ken going to come down. We're going to put the Lydramon up in raising. Going to have plenty of memory to play with in the next turn. Nothing she can do to stop it from being on the field. It's just whether the Magnamon will survive. Chose to swing with it at the end because it's not like it could actually block the Mirage Galgamon, as it is unblockable. So might as well crash it into security, keep the tempo up. Dinohumon going to come up in raising, and we're going to see the source stripped out from underneath. With that Sora-Jo suspend ability, can take the bottom 2 out of a Digimon when it is attacking, and she is going to swing over the Magnamon so it can't armor purge down. And pass the turn with Salamon coming out for 3. Not going to be able to use that inheritance or anything like that, since there's nothing to DNA Digivolve, but as I alluded to before, that Lydramon is going to come out, and we're going to get the extra memory at the beginning of our main phase. Fire Rocket in, swings in, takes the acid injection, and unfortunately the second one hits straight into the Wyvern's Breath, and that's going to delete the entire stack, so no armor change shenanigans going to happen. Just going to get that ST9 Veemon out. Check top 3 for a free type. Don't really hit into anything that I want, so we're just going to take out another Veemon. Don't want to go too wide here because we are expecting it to get bounced, and the Sora-Jo going to punish us for having level 3s out. Lydramon going to come down. Suspends the Salamon, but it's not like we can do much over it. And a Digivolution up to KnTElixar. Since our armors aren't necessarily as potent as they were before, they're going to be losing their sources to that Mirage Galgamon, stripping it with Sora-Jo. So going into the traditionally less defensively tanky KnTElixar does keep that blue-green source on the field. Shakkoumon going to be once again making an appearance. That when Digivolving recovery puts us back up to 2 on the side of Shakkoumon. And security control is going to start some offense. Strip 2 out of the bottom as expected. That's going to be swinging into that jamming Veemon in security. Easily passes over it. Nothing to bounce on the field though. Shakkoumon also going to be swinging in, but she is going to hit the ice wall in security, gain 2 memory, and that is going to forcefully bring an end to the turn. Going up into the ST9 Veemon in raising, and the Davis Ken memory boost is going to put us up. Paladramon going to be swinging in once, hits straight into the Shakkoumon though, at 8,000, they're going to crash and both die. So unfortunately couldn't get 2 checks out of the Paladramon. I actually get a little bit greedy here, setting up for that next turn, putting the Lydramon down and going for that blue memory boost, because I don't want to put out a Veemon and risk giving over the extra memory. But at this point I didn't actually notice my security was so low. I'm used to playing against a little bit less aggression from the security control, and just didn't keep an eye on what was on the board. Gonna hit into the Fire Rocket, that does nothing. Hit into the Veemon, pretty simple, and the first game is gonna go to Shakkoumon security control. I will choose to go first in this second round. Going straight up into the Veemon and Lydramon. No inheritance in that Veemon. We're going to see the Angemon come out once again. A pretty decent answer. Memory checks me at 1. Not the DNA Digivolve Salamon, but still a Salamon with inheritance nonetheless. We're going to see Davis Ken come out. Going to pass over 3 memory. But it does mean that we will not be getting memory choked for another turn once again. Get that memory setter out nice and early, and get a little bit of a search going as well. 3 memory to play with. We're going to see the board go wide, and we should expect to see Digivolution on top of that. But first she's actually going to swing, and he's going to hit into the Lydramon, does survive. Dinohumon then comes out, and that end of turn inheritance. We're going to see us DNA Digivolve into Chimeramon, which will now have 5 colors under its source. Doesn't actually have anything in the drop zone to put under the Chimeramon, but with yellow, red, blue, and white, and the previous damage done from the inheritance, that first attack from Angemon is enough to clear the Lydramon. Going to start getting a blocker out, so not too much coming in on my side. Haven't really been able to play any aggression. Veemon into Magmon just to put that blocker out for 11k. Hammer Spark going to come down, and the All-Force Veedramon puts at 0 thanks to that Hammer Spark pushing it up to the 4. That bounces back a level 4. Magnemon unfortunately is a level 4, so even though it's a nice big body, back to the hand it goes, and All-Force Veedramon free to swing at security. Basically nothing there, just the Veemon and the TK. Search for a yellow, pulls out the Starmons. And then recovery +1 back into that. And that's Starmons. Not going to be making an appearance just yet. Lydramon in on my side of sit on 3. I'm going to swing that into the All-Force Veedramon to come out with Magnemon now with 3 armors in trash. Swinging for 13 is going to go right over the All-Force. So still yet to actually have a proper crack at the security, but at the very least we've gotten rid of a massive body that would be dealing with these Veemon. And now I can more comfortably go out wide. Going to see the Angemon come out in response, and if she did want to, could go up into the Shakkoumon for full cost. Just double checking to see how long that Magnemon is going to be staying on 13. It's still within Wyvern's Breath range. You can see from the overhead cam, Wyvern's Breath is going to play. That's going to be Magnemon going down. Have to build up once again in raising Upamon into the ST9 Veemon. Flamedramon going to come out over the surviving BT8 Veemon. That one can attack this turn. I do consider going for the attack. We're going to think better of it. Just going to keep this nice and slow. Jamming Veemon comes out, and the Ragemon suspends the level 4 Angemon. I'm just going to swing straight over that with the Flamedramon. I put out another jamming Veemon. That's going to pass the turn. We go straight back up to 3 Salamon once again, the Digivolution of choice in raising, and go up to Aquilomon for 2. And the Kari is going to come out. Another memory setter, but this one's mostly going to be focused on getting that memory back every time the heals come in. Haven't really seen either of us getting much done, and another Wyvern's Breath hits. First check in security is going to take out the Lydramon. That's all 4 Lydramon down very, very early into the game. So Davis and Ken not really going to be a massive factor. Another option card sees win rate 60, goes straight to the hand. And Digivolution into Flamedramon swings in. That's another Kari. So now going to be getting 2 memory every single time she heals. Armor texture, going to be sending the blocker Magnamon out to pass, just to keep my security a little bit safe. Win rate 60 is going to come out, and KnTElixar going to be digivolving into Shakkoumon for 0 cost. And Kari going to give 2 memory back, actually completely digivolving for free because the offset cost of that win rate 60. Azulonmon will come out. Now another big body on the field. 11k going to be dealing -3 for the Shakkoumon effect, and because Azulonmon is still blue, the KnTElixar inheritance can set another -3000 DP. She's going to swing in at the Flamedramon. We're going to do the -3000 DP to the Veemon and the Flamedramon. But we do realize that Magnamon is still in effect. So Magnamon going to block the attack. The -3000 will still kill off the jamming Veemon. It's going to kill. It's not going to kill off the Flamedramon as it's not able to successfully receive the attack. Magnamon going to take that instead, and since it is nice and beefy, well over that 11k, is going to pop the Azulonmon in response. So KnTElixar to pass the turn, just get another body out on the field, but definitely Magnamon, huge problem there. Flamedramon going to come in with 2 checks. Fire Rocket once again being a menace. The second TK is going to put another card back in, and we're going to swing into that Salamon and claim a hybrid for the next round off of the blue memory boost. Unfortunately, if we go hybrid, not going to be able to attack with it, so I'm just going to keep that in the back pocket and go into Pyldramon to pass the turn with 4, just slightly over that memory setter. Just a KnTElixar out on the field, and this is the raising turn, so nothing going to be promoted in response. Would need to get rid of both cards on my field, but can't stop the Veemon in Nursery from coming out to swing. Needs to find some form of recovery here. Going to see that -5000 from Sylphimon come down. Just a little bit of contemplation here to see if there's any way back into this game. Initially did have the target on the Magnamon, but then chooses to switch that 5000 DP over to Pyldramon to bring its DP less than 5000, and the KnTElixar inheritance does allow her to delete a 5k or less, so that's going to take out the Pyldramon while swinging in to the Veemon. Starmon's going to come out, and initially she thought it was just a 1000 DP, but the Starmon does hit the field first before it's on play, so 2000 DP, enough to kill the Veemon out underneath. So pretty decent board clear, but unfortunately it is not going to matter. Just a little bit of crack the blue memory boost. Going to see the hybrid come out and just show how many Armour were in trash for the Magnamon to come out as well. It's going to be 1-1. Best of 3 going the distance. I'm going to see the Salamon and Sora Joe. Security and Control starts that first turn. SD8 Veemon finally making an appearance in the early raise. Can get us a little bit of tempo in the early game. Not going to hit into really any useful 2-color targets. Was looking for those level 4s, but we'll take a Mega Death just to threaten that in our hand. Now Flamedramon to pass the turn, and a reinforcing memory boost hits once again incredibly early. KnTElixar goes to hand, and Sylphimon going to be stacked up nicely on the top of the deck, meaning that Flamedramon can't necessarily swing in willy-nilly, as it will crash, and there's no jamming underneath it. Lydramon going to come out over the top, and we are at 7 or fewer, so we're going to swing in, draw 1 for that, crash the Lydramon in, and the suspending effect from Digivolving is going to suspend the Salamon, and we're just going to take that out. Keep that board control nice and fresh. And Lydramon to replace, so that's 2 Lydramon play quite early. We're going to be searching for a little bit more. You see that BT8 Veemon added to our hand off of the blue memory boost, and the Salamon once again built out in raising. Gonna see the Hammer Spot come down, just get a little bit of extra memory there. We're gonna see the memory boost cracked as well to hard play Angemon for 5 cost, keeping the turn. and go into Chimeramon to put the Sylphimon underneath. So that's blue, yellow, and red alongside white. 4,000 DP reduction across the board. And now we start building up in raising. Fire Rocket going to be there, but do miss actually paying the cost for the Fire Rocket. And that's going to be 2 checks in. First one, Azulonmon does kill off the Flame Dramon, but because it was attacking, it does give that extra 3,000 DP. So even though the minus 3,000 was minus 1,000 was there for the last turn because of Chimeramon, still able to stay alive. Second Flame Dramon comes out. I'm going to DNA Digivolve in, so no negative DP reduction now as it is a brand new Digimon off the Jogress. Fire Rocket can't activate because we don't have an Armour on the field to ignore its color requirements. I'm going to see the blue remove its cracks just to stay out of Hammer Spark zone, but we're going to hit straight into the Wyvern's Breath instead. You can see how I feel about that. Hydramon, incredibly fragile in this deck. It does seem to have just the worst luck swinging into 8Ks without jamming or popping into Wyvern's Breath. So we're going to finish the turn by playing out that BT8 Veemon and a Magnamon to go up over it. Unfortunately, that one memory difference from missing that Fire Rocket cost really does allow to get a big body on the board. Angemon coming out in response. Searching trash. Looks like Chimeramon probably going to be what is being looked for. You can see it in her hand there. Is definitely going to be the Digivolution that's being considered. Consider swinging with the Chimeramon. The Magnamon is coming in with its increased DP, so we're going to block that and kill off the Chimeramon with the block. Angemon going to swing in, hits the EX1 Veemon, and we're going to see the Aquilamon come down. Salamon Inheritance allows the Chimeramon to come out. And because the Angemon was included in that Digivolution, is going to recover off of the Digivolution as well. I'm going to see that Veemon pushed out of Nursery, swings straight in, hits an All-Force Veedramon. Not going to get too much done, but at the very least some damage is dealt. Magnamon is going to be staying as a 7k blocker, so not enough to kill off the Chimeramon, but still going to be there to protect our security as it's 4-2. Does mean that Angemon's Digivolution is going to net that +1 recovery every single time it hits the field. So I'm just going to put the Davis and Ken down just to give us a little bit more memory, as so far we had no Tamers on the field as that Sorojo constantly threatening in the back. Chimeramon does count as being blue here, so could strip the sources when attacking. 3 or fewer security is going to draw one off of that Upamon. And that's what we see using the Sorojo, acknowledging that Chimeramon is currently blue because of the Angemon in Inheritance. Could have stripped the Veemon out from underneath and then swung in, broken that Magnamon. And that is going to cost, swings straight in for 8 and does die in security right away. Second Davis Ken coming out, no Raidramon in raising though, and once again that dreaded recovery combo is going to come down. Angemon and Shakkoumon, one after the other for a +2 recovery, tied once again at 4-4. And here's where playing those Tamers out, predicting the long game, will ultimately deal us a good hand coming forward. Does consider swinging at security, and we're going to bounce the Veemon back to hand off the Angemon Inheritable, swings into a jamming Veemon, simple stuff in security. TK once again comes down, searching at security for a yellow, brings it out, and the recovery +1 Salamon to hand. Just trying to take the weak stuff out of security. We did actually have to go and clock something, so both of us get up, so we're just going to get a quick cut there as we get back to the table. And Shakkoumon Going to be playing defense now as the Magamon comes out. Going to swing straight into Shakkoumon, take it down. Plenty of Digimon in the trash, so it's going to swing over, and once again, a relatively passive turn, just keeping the board clear as much as possible. End the turn with that Davis to get that memory setter down in response. Both of us now with that memory setter to 3. Considers going for the Dinohumon, but instead going to go down to 0 with Salamon and then play Dinohumon over that instead. Get that 5k body on the board. Memory set to 3, and then we are going to go up to 5 off of the 2 Davison Gain, giving us 1 blue. 1 memory off of the blue card, and Fire Rocket comes down once again, swinging for 2 checks, 2 Salamons. Armor Texture and Ragemon is going to come down, swings into the Azulamon and crashes, but the second check will go through, which is going to kill off the Veemon in response as it hits the Andromon in security. Still 2 memory left, and we're just going to put down another Davis Ken. This time it's just being used for the search, only hits 1 target, but we do now know that the Ice Wall isn't in our security, and that our security is likely to be pretty weak at this point. Aquilamon going to be coming in, and we do have the Salamon with the DNA inheritance once again, so could end the turn with it. Swings in, hits the Davis, nice and safe. Another search comes out though, and that's going to be Paildramon to hand. All 3 Davis have been hitting this. Just 1 Davis and Ken missing from that full Tamer lineup. Now really figuring out a way back in. Hammersmark will come down. Up to 2 memory still to play with, but not a way to get up to the level 6 sitting in her hand. This one looking really, really unfortunate. No security to play in. I think it is starting to set in that we are out of options here. Too many Tamers clogging the hand. And the level 5s have been putting in a whole lot of work. Swings in with the Dinohumon just to chip that security down a little bit further. And once you can see me start shuffling that trash pile, no longer need to keep those armor separate. Kind of feel that blood is in the water, and it's going to be the Veemon coming out from Nursery to swing for game. So Armour going to come away with the win, 2-1 in the series. Definitely these games getting closer and closer. You can see the slight change to the Armor Rush profile with the Kendo Garurumon, whereas Shakkoumon staying the same as last time. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. We'll be back with more and more action weekly. Been loving the support been getting so far. Make sure to catch me live on Twitch when I'm up to other shenanigans. I'll see you in the next one.